got a user that hangs around between page loads. But all my messages, except my hard-coded messages, go away every time I refresh the page, which bums me the heck out. At this point, we can add new messages, so it's kind of silly that we still have some hard-coded ones in there. I think we put those in chat.js, right? So let's just initialize messages to an empty array. This is silly. Okay, that's better. Remove hard-coded messages from chat. So we don't want to use local storage, though. That's not going to help us with multiple users, is it? You're on your laptop, I'm on mine. We each have our own local storage. We can't chat to each other that way. We need these to be stored in the cloud. So how about we learn Node.js real quick and write an entire backend with a REST API? Sounds like a probably beyond the scope of this class thing. That's a little much. We're not going to do that. But we're certainly not going to do it in the last 11 minutes of class. Yeah?
Would you use React for all the backend stuff too, or is it just a front-end thing?
It is just a front-end thing. There is server-side rendering you can do just so that you can have the UI already pre-rendered when you load the page instead of having to wait for JavaScript to do it the first time. But still, it is a client-side thing only. Yeah. There are a lot of choices. Of course, infinite choices just about. Node.js is perfectly legitimate. It's pretty popular. It is JavaScript, so you don't have to learn an entire new language. I'm also a big fan of Ruby on Rails. There's Python, there's Java, there's .NET. There are a few backends as a service, which sounds like an appropriate thing for us to do in this class. Yeah, Daniel?
Can you just buy a database, like a cloud storage, to like this one data?
Yeah. If it's just storage, that's, you can just use Amazon S3 or something. But if you need logic, then you need some sort of backend as a service. And that's what we're going to do. So yes, we can totally do that thing. And in fact, we don't have to buy it because for our purposes, a free one will do just fine because we're not going to have a whole bunch of traffic and a trillion users and so on. So we're going to use my good friend and soon to be yours, Firebase. Firebase.google.com. Yes, it is owned by Google these days. I'll throw that link in Slack. So all you need to use it is a Gmail account. So you may very well already be logged in when you go to this page. You may already find that you're logged in. So Firebase is a backend as a service. They've kind of changed all their marketing to really focus on mobile. Helps mobile app teams conceive comprehensive mobile development platform. There's nothing about it that makes it particularly targeted at mobile versus the web. Totally works with web apps. They have a whole bunch of services, including a real-time database, hosting, authentication, all things that we could use. So let's see if we can get started real quick. If you're already signed in, I think you can go here and let's see here. Go to console. How do you? I can never remember how to get. What does get started do? Hey, get started takes me to the console. So click on get started. Yeah.
Is the language agnostic?
Yep. Totally. Just gives you an API you can deal with. So if you're not signed in, sign in with a Google account. If you are, you can just click that get started button and you'll go right to your Firebase console. Or here's a link straight to the Firebase console. And go ahead and do this right now. Go ahead and get signed into Firebase at least. And then when you're there, go ahead and click on Add a Project. Add a project. My project is, I'll call it Chat S3 Morning. You can call yours Chattering or whatever you want. This way I'll keep it straight from the afternoon class. I do not want to share anything. Thank you very much. Continue. No, I still don't want to share anything. Thank you. Create project. Your new project is ready. Continue. Get started here. Add Firebase to your iOS app. Add Firebase to your Android app. Add Firebase to your web app. That's us, right? So if you click that, you'll see this config object, and this is going to be different for everybody. Your object will be different from mine. This actually identifies your project. You have your API key, etc. Do not use mine. Copy this from your own. Now, we're not going to use a script tag and all that stuff like some kind of animals. We're going to put this in JavaScript. That'll just get loaded into our project. So to get started with this, I'm going to make a configuration file for this. I'm going to put it in my source directory, but it's not going to be a component. So I'm going to give it a lowercase file name. Lowercase b base.js, and this is just where I'm going to put my Firebase config. And since this is going to have our API key and stuff in it, it's a good idea not to actually put it in your repository. It's not a huge security problem because we will whitelist domains and stuff. And ultimately, this file is going to get loaded into the browser so people could find your API key if they really wanted to. So we have other things that make it secure, like whitelisting the domains that you can use to contact it. But anyway, we're not going to add base.js to our repository. So what we're going to do is go to gitignore, where we can tell it never commit certain files. And at the bottom, we'll just add base.js. So then if I look at the files to be committed, it's just gitignore. But we do want people to have some idea of how to configure Firebase if they copy our code. So we will add a file called base.example.js, and we'll commit that. We'll just take all the secrets out of it. Yes, I said secrets, because they're sneaky secrets. So let's get this configuration object here. Var, I don't think so. Nice try. Const. Remember, yours is different, so I'm not copying and pasting this. So Firebase.initialize app, where's Firebase going to come from? We're going to have to import that, right? Which means we probably need to have that as a dependency. So they just had a script tag to pull Firebase in, but we have npm, so we're going to do it that way. Let's go ahead and go say yarn add Firebase. And that will not only download the Firebase package, put it in your node modules folder, it will also add it to package.json. Firebase, right here. So then what I can do is import Firebase from, instead of just importing Firebase from Firebase, Firebase has a lot of modules in it, and we don't need to import them all into our code because we're only going to be using like 3 of them. So I'm just going to import Firebase/app. Then here's my config object, which I do with const instead of var. And then I initialize a Firebase app. I'll save that as a variable called app. And that's my Firebase configuration. So I want my base.example.js to have that sort of thing, but I don't want any of my actual stuff in there. So I'm going to replace that with an object like this. I'll copy this file. I'll go ahead and put that comment in there. Initialize Firebase. So here's my base.example.js. So that gives you an idea of what should go in your base.js. Add and configure Firebase. So in the Firebase console, you'll see things like authentication, database, storage, hosting, all kinds of stuff. So click on database real quick in your Firebase console. And I think if we click create database, ooh, does it not even give me a choice anymore? There we go. Scroll down a bit on this page, okay? Let's click on database in the side. Firebase always chooses right in the middle of Extern Bootcamp to start changing everything. Cloud Firestore is still a beta, so we're going to use the old one. So scroll down a bit and find, or choose real-time database. Yes, let's choose real-time database. Hit create database. Then it gives us choice for our security rules. Start in locked mode or start in test mode. We're still developing, so we'll start in test mode. Locked mode will mean no one can read or write until you come up with better security rules. But we don't have any real users yet, so we better not do that. So we'll start in test mode. Enable. Now we have our real-time database. And the way that works is it's possible to make that just sync whatever data you want just almost instantaneously. So we've got our real-time database configured, but we don't know how to use it yet.